Hi, good evening. I'm Shane Jones with the Lime Sports World. A hat-trick from Zico Edme led TS Strikers to a big win in the final preliminary round of the Lime Pelican Football Challenge last night at the National Stadium. TS Strikers came away with a 6-0 victory over Direct TV Red Snappers, and they now move on to the quarterfinals. There were also convincing wins for Emerson Boyce 5th Avenue Bajan Elite and Phoenix UFO Toyota Firehouse, who also have quarterfinal dates. CBC's Marcia Boyce reports on those games.
We pick up the action in the second half of this clash between Bajan Elite in yellow and Red Tridents. Although Red Tridents got the opening goal, Bajan Elite were up 2-1 at half-time. And it stayed that way until this lovely strike from Shea Lloyd in the 80th minute. That made it 3-1 to Bajan Elite. And they weren't done yet. Shamar Edwards would go on to beat the defenders and slot it home easily, making it 4-1 in the 80th minute. Another mishap at the back for Red Tridents would lead to goal number 5 for Bajan Elite. Revere Williams would put the icing on the cake in stoppage time. It ended Bajan Elite 5, Red Tridents 1. The final game on the night was a clash between Firehouse in green and a 360 Connection. Not the start 360 Connection would have wanted, a straight red for Dario Aline. They were down to 10 men in the 17th minute and had conceded a penalty which Norman Ford Julie converted. That's 1-0 to Firehouse. Even though they were a man short, 360 Connection had some chances to equalize midway through the first half. The easiest one here. Opportunity missed. They just couldn't get it together, and some bad defending would lead to goal number 2 for Firehouse. Paul Lovell doubling their advantage just before half-time. Lovell would pick up another in the 76th minute. The goalkeeper could only blame himself for that one. Firehouse up 3-0. Things went from bad to worse for 360 Connection. A reckless challenge from Jomo Brathwaite, and he would receive his walking papers in the 70th minute. They were now down to 9 men. There was always going to be another goal on the cards, and it came 6 minutes from time. Ryan Hunt left unmarked to come through to head it home. Final score: Firehouse 4, 360 Connection 0. Marcia Boyce, CBC Sports.
Thanks, Marcia. Meanwhile, in the night's opening game, Bajan Pride and LG Kick Strike Force played to a 2-2 draw. The quarterfinal matchups are Barbados Steelworks Top Bay Settlers against Scotty's Tech for Less and Strike Force versus Bajan Elite this Sunday, while on the 17th it'll be Bajan Pride taking on New Look 360 Connection and Firehouse against TS Strikers. The champions of the first ever Northern Ireland International Netball Festival are back home. CBC's Marcia Boyce was at the Grantley Adams International Airport for their arrival this afternoon.
After winning the inaugural Northern Ireland's International Netball Festival, the Barbados contingent was all smiles on returning to the island. Latonia Blackman was a proud captain.
It was just exciting. All the girls wanted it, and we went there and played 100% each game. The last game against Northern Islands, after beating them by 31 goals, they obviously went back to the drawing board and came out harder the next game. That was the most difficult game, and that's the game we wanted to win, hands down.
She says the tour was a timely boost ahead of next year's Commonwealth Games in Glasgow.
Northern Islands have an Australian coach, so they play the Australian, New Zealand type of netball. Red Balls want to play the African type of netball, and St. Lucia played Caribbean type of netball. So it was 3 different types of netball that we had to play, and it was okay. Leading up to Commonwealth is going to be good. We need more exposure out there next year for sure, and we need an indoor stadium.
Coach Anna Shepherd was particularly pleased with the showing of young Shonika Wharton and Shanika Thomas, but is hoping for similar opportunities in the build-up to Scotland.
It's something that we really needed because we haven't had any competition since July last year, and it was necessary. We saw where we need to make some progress in, and we saw our strengths also. So it was a really good tour for us. All the other top teams are having lots of competition against each other. We definitely need, and that was something that we saw then, that we need to have more competition in order to maintain the intensity that that is needed for that level of netball.
Barbados played unbeaten in the tournament, which also featured St. Lucia and Botswana, before defeating Northern Ireland in the final 47-38. Marsha Boyce, CBC Sports.
Barbadian-born pacer Christopher Jordan was recently back home for a brief visit as he prepared for the upcoming Ashes series in Australia. Jordan was selected for England's performance squad after a successful county season with Sussex and a promising display against Australia in the recent one-day series in September. CBC's Damien Best caught up with the Barbadian-born cricketer practicing at the YMPC ground.
Christopher Jordan's two-week visit to Barbados came to an end recently. The right-arm pacer has returned to England to join those selected for the performance squad.
The performance squad is selected at the end of every county season. Basically, a bunch of guys who've done well throughout the year and sort of rewarded for those performances. So obviously, wherever the England team go in the winter, the performance squad sort of shadows it and practices with the England team and what's not, so that if any injuries do come up, guys are waiting there ready to step in.
Jordan had an excellent county season with Sussex, taking 59 wickets at an average of 26.72 in the championship, as well as 11 scalps in the YB40 competition and 8 wickets in the T20 tournament. Well, the Barbadian-born pacer says life in the England Lions team has helped to improve his game.
Well, everything's a lot more intense. Preparation is very thorough, and you more or less have to practice with the intensity that you have to play with in the game. So that, for one, helps you to step your game up, and so that when those games do come around, you're ready for them. You can always get better, and as I mentioned earlier, consistency is one of those things. So, as I say in the nets and what's not, practice on trying to hit areas 8 times out of 10. Even 10 times out of 10, so that when they do get into the games, I could execute those skills to a high level.
Well, before his decision to join the England Lions team, Jordan represented Barbados in the regional competitions and was thought to be in line for a call-up to the West Indies team.
Well, obviously I've been playing in England for the last 6 or 7 years, so being in that setup over a period of time and actually going on 1 or 2 Lions trips previously as well, obviously they had their eye on me and saw it fit to give me my chance at that particular time, so I'm glad I made the decision.
Jordan claimed 3 for 51 on international debut against Australia in the 5th ODI in September, but says one of his goals is to make the England Test team.
I probably did a lot better in 4-day cricket this year than I actually did in 1-day cricket, but I do have aspirations of getting into the Test squad, and hopefully if I keep putting in the kind of performances I have done this year, that shouldn't be too far away.
The entire England performance squad will meet up in Loughborough for a preparation period before leaving for Australia on November 14th. The tour includes 2 3-day matches in Brisbane and a final match in Perth.
Thanks, Damien. It's going to be Barbados versus Great Britain and Ireland when the inaugural Winter Jockey Challenge gets underway at the Garrison Savannah on November 16th. 4 of the sport's top jockeys, Karen Fallon, Jimmy Fortune, Pat Smullen and Seb Sanders, will go up against Barbadians Anderson Trotman, Antonio Bishop, Antonio Whitehall and Demario Bino. A points system will be in place for the race day organized by the Barbados Turf Club and the Barbados Thoroughbred Breeders Association, with 15 points awarded to the winner of each of the 4 races. Secretary and CEO of the BTC, Rosette Pierce, says the event is an opportunity to showcase Barbados.
The event has the international flavor that has long been associated with horses venturing from overseas to challenge our local horses for the prestigious Sandy Lane Barbados Gold Cup. In this event, the jockeys will be the main attraction, as the visiting riders with their distinctive European riding style seek to prove that they have what it takes to conquer any track in the world. This event goes beyond the Barbados Turf Club and its racing product. This is an opportunity for us to showcase Barbados, and it is for this reason that the riders will be staying on long after they have passed the winning pole on November 16th. In the days following, they will put aside their riding gear and become tourists in Barbados.
Well, apart from the challenge, there are 2 feature races on the Breeders' Classic Race Day. The Courtesy Juvenile Breeders' Stakes with a purse of $36,000 and the Courtesy Breeders' Classic.
The first race, the Breeders' Classic, is something of a marquee event on the program for Barbados bred horses, and this race is over 9 furlongs or 1,800 meters for Barbados bred 3-year-olds. The total purse this year is just over $41,000. Also on the day, the Barbados Thoroughbred Breeders Association has taken the liberty of offering gifts to all winning jockeys on the day. We want to make sure that no one really is left out, and we really want to make this day a very, very solid day and a high-profile day on the calendar.